Nicki Minaj, the touchdown 326. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, listen. It's Lifestyle Tuesday today, and I made a promise, and now I'm so excited. Everybody in studio is like, man, God is on the throne. We make magic. I want to give a special shout out to my pastor, Babs Tole. He's my dad. He's my father. Been through, through it all. It's always good. Boys need men to grow. And ladies and gentlemen, one of our grown brothers is in the building today. He goes by the name of Dr. Umar. Ifatunde in the building. Yes.
Peace and Pan-Africanism. Glad to be here, family. Shout out to the entire South African family.
Yes.
The Prince of Pan-Africanism is in the building.
Woo! The Prince of African. Say that again, sir.
The Prince of Pan-Africanism.
Pan-Africanism.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, I followed your work for some time,
Yes,
and
sir.
I want us to firstly welcome you at Metro FM,
Thank you. Glad to be here.
the biggest radio station, uncontested nationwide.
Yes, sir.
You can land in any city in the country. You hear Metro.
Powerful.
You can land anywhere. I just got back from Venice, Italy. We were there broadcasting.
Powerful.
And people listen to the station. So you're literally at the biggest station in the world right now.
The biggest station for the biggest scholar. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes. You were introduced to Pan-Africanism or African studies early in your life.
Yes, sir.
Because growing in the U.S., there has to be that thirst and quest to want to follow the same roots as your Dr. W.B. Du Bois, the Malcolm X of Dr. Martin Luther King. But
Honorable Marcus Garvey.
come on, what sparked that? When did it start?
4th grade, 9 years old, George Meade Elementary School, North Philadelphia.
Ooh.
I'm from the same neighborhood as Bill Cosby and Jill Scott and Meek Mill.
Yeah.
And at our elementary school, we had a Black History class.
You forgot Beanie Siegel.
Yes, Beanie Siegel, South Philly.
Oh, South. Okay.
I'm North Philly.
Okay, my
But
bad.
Siegel is my man. That's my man.
Yeah, yes, sir.
And so it was Black History class in 4th and 5th grade that basically ignited my thirst for African consciousness and for African liberation, and I never left.
It's interesting at that age because we'll be preoccupied with the latest PlayStation game and many other things. Do you think the era of today gadgets have deteriorated?
Distraction.
Okay.
Social media and video gaming is a distraction away from academic excellence for Black children.
Man,
and one of the things I'm going to talk about tonight at the Oasis Bible Church, we want to invite all your listeners out, free event, no
Free?
cost.
Whoa.
Oasis Bible Church in Davidson tonight.
Yes, sir.
Doors open up at 4 o'clock. Dr. Umar will be in the building. And just to let them know, I'm a school psychologist, certified school psychologist, doctor of clinical psychology,
Yes.
certified school principal. I'm an educator and a mental health diagnostician. And we're going to talk about that because in South Africa, just like in the United States, Black parents are allowing their children to settle for mediocrity versus Black excellence because we are not demanding their best from our children.
But there aren't enough tools, though, to define Black excellence. And we play about this phrase from a hashtag point of view, and I feel like there hasn't been enough curriculum, there hasn't been enough propaganda. Because I'm going to say, propaganda is the reason why you and I, we think the proximity to white
Yes,
is
sir.
excellence.
Yes, sir.
So what do we apply? What science do we apply to qualify or define Black excellence?
For me, Black excellence is the mindset and lifestyle of achieving a level of greatness that your ancestors would be proud of. Black excellence for me rests on a solid platform of Black independence.
Okay.
That means whatever we got to do as African people, we got to do it by ourselves. We cannot keep holding the hands of the British, holding the hands of the Dutch, holding the hands of the Americans. It's time for African people to put away the crutches and stand on our own two
But
feet.
we don't build systems.
That's our weakness.
We're not industrialists, though.
That's our weakness. Well, we have a history of being industrialists,
Under white supervision.
and even outside of white supervision,
I want
globally speaking. In America, you have industrialists. In Africa, there is some history of industrialism. The issue, though,
Yes.
is number one, capital to finance your industrial design.
Okay.
And organization on a community level to guarantee its success.
Hold that thought. I love where you're going. You might have a question for my big brother today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your once in a lifetime to hit me up on 086,000 2160. All roads lead to Davidson today. They say the best things in life are free. Yes, you don't need no ticket, but you got to arrive early. They say he who funds you always set your agenda in life. My brother here, we left at the point of we don't have systems or we don't have security to finance innovation. And last time I checked, the borrowing policies are not designed for us. Neither are they written for us. How do we then conform or meet eligibility standards for those who, from inception, kept us far from having access to capital?
That's a great question. Number one, when we look at that question through a South African context, we have to understand that the settlements that were made in 1994 at the fall of apartheid did not benefit the South African people. For all intents and purposes, it was an illusion of inclusion and an outright deception. African people, South African people got nothing out of that deal. Most of the wealth of this country is still in the hands of Europeans. Most of the financial sector is still in the hands of Europeans. In order for South Africa to really be the land of prosperity that is propagated to be, for my brothers and sisters here in South Africa, there has to be a radical redistribution of the wealth. A radical redistribution of the wealth. Anything short of that is a mockery of democracy.
Are you saying that the only way we got invited to the table where we can even reform policy is because we had to capitulate?
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. They gave you exactly what they gave us in America. Social integration without any political or economic slices of pie.
All right. Now this is 2023, okay? I'm happy you quoting 1994. And I know you are well researched.
Mm-hmm.
You've observed the current government.
Absolutely.
Are you trying to say that having ANC in power or having a black government in power made no difference to propel the black agenda?
I'll tell you what I know for a fact.
Yeah.
When you look at the rise of the black elected official in the United States and in the United Kingdom and in the Caribbean and in Central and South America and in Australia, the people tend to do worse off the more black people get into office. And when you go throughout Africa, it's often the same. And you know why?
Why?
Because most of our black politicians are financed by the same people who have their economic hands around our necks. There's an African proverb that says the hand that pays is the hand that rules. So in order for me to have any confidence in any elected official, I don't care if it's ANC, EFF, DA, first of all, you have to be economically independent. If you're taking money from the same people we got to fight, then you're owned by the people we're fighting.
Ladies and gentlemen, I told you it's not going to be an ordinary Tuesday lifestyle today. And what we dishing right now is just caviar. The main course is served at Oasis Bible Church tonight. Davidson, Ekuruleni. I want to shape. Let's pivot for a second.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to use the word derail.
I'm
going to use the word pivot because my team lost last night. So I'm using basketball terms. I still love the Lakers.
Who, LeBron? He gonna kill himself trying to catch up with Kobe and Mike.
I
like
Lakers.
LeBron, but he gonna kill himself trying to catch up to Kobe and Mike. He's not getting the 5th ring, and he damn sure not getting the 6th. LeBron, it's been 20 years. You had a great career. You're the NBA's leading scorer. Go retire and spend some time with Savannah.
I get it.
You're never catching Kobe. You're never catching Kobe, and you're never catching Mike.
No. Mike, yes. Mike is
He's not catching
Mike
Kobe.
Mike is in the league of his own.
LeBron James can't tie Kobe Bryant's sneakers. You out of your mind.
Listen, I'm a fan of
Let's
the team,
get back to the business of South African liberation.
Let's do it while we at it, please. Talk about, I want you to explain the term because people, you say things that we are left with no choice but to misconstrue information sometimes because, you know, not everybody has this opportunity to talk to you and ask you to elaborate. You once made a comment, and I'm being careful how I quote, but it's along the lines of successful black men affirm their arrival or their access to wealth by proximity to white. And I mean, this is the term you use, white bunnies.
Snow bunnies.
Snow bunnies.
Interracial dating.
Yes.
Which I do not support.
Explain that to me.
Because
Why?
as a Pan-Africanist, we believe in African independence and everything. Every institution has to be built with all black hands, whether that's the school, whether that's the bank, whether that's the hospital, whether it's the home. I have no business marrying outside of my race. Why? Black women are the largest human population on the earth. they exceed every other group. So if I cannot find an African woman in the United States that I can content myself with, then let me go to Jamaica, let me go to Haiti. If I can't find one in the Caribbean, let me go to London, let me go to Paris. If I can't find one there, let me go to Canada, let me go to Australia, let me come to the motherland. Why do I have to end up with a Chinese, an Indian, a European Jew, or an Anglo-Saxon when there's so many beautiful African women around?
But here's where I differ with you, though. Two guys I look up to, who are no more. May they so rest in peace. Sidney Poitier,
yes, sir,
and the recent
Harry
Belafonte.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Harry Belafonte was very critical in fighting, or probably the awareness of the circumstances former comrades lived in
he was
Robben
a big
Island.
supporter of Dr. King.
A big one. But also politically matured. I mean, he's written some materials that have helped our thinking.
But he is not let off the hook because he still had a snow bunny. And at the end of the day, any black man who claims to be 100% committed to African people got to have an African wife.
Yes.
There is no way you are spinning your bed with the daughter of the oppressor community claiming you living and dying for me. You are a walking contradiction. Harry Belafonte, rest in peace, but you were a snow bunny lover and a walking contradiction.
Total Energies is a proud sponsor of the 2023 Rugby World Cup in France, and to celebrate, we are giving you a chance to be there. As a Total Energies Club member, you get an entry to win one of 5 double tickets to a match at the Rugby World Cup every time you spend 700 Rand or more at any participating service station. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to experience the thrill of the biggest event in world rugby. Fuel up, stock up, and power your way to France with Total Energies. Not a club member yet? Then it's time you got into the game. It's easy to join. Simply download the Total Energies Club app to sign up, earn points, and redeem them for cashback vouchers. It's that simple. Total Energies, get in the game and let us reward your journey.
Did you go to the Honorable Muhammad Ali's funeral?
I did not. I missed it, but I'm a big Muhammad Ali fan.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali in the 1960s single-handedly made black beautiful. He single-handedly made black people feel better about themselves. You can't find another individual since the Honorable Marcus Garvey who single-handedly made being black a blessing instead of a curse.
I went to his hometown in Kentucky.
Louisville,
Kentucky. It was cold, man.
Yeah, I love Louisville.
Freezing.
Big Dr. Umar support city.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Umar Ifatunde. I want to find out.
Yes, sir.
Were we late? Because I was going to say the South Africans, we should call you Umar.
Ifatunde.
What would you give him a local surname? Like
Sithole.
Sithole.
Rakwena. Yeah. Mangoba. Okay, my producer say
Call me Robert Sobukwe.
086,000 2160. Ladies and gentlemen, all roads today leads to Oasis Family Church in Davidton. I'm having an amazing experience in radio. 20 years of radio, and today this is going to go down in history as one of the best conversations we've had. If it doesn't provoke you to reflect, to think, read, and get to know yourself better, I don't know what we're going to give you. I don't know what else we need. Have you ever met with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
I've never met with him. I've met with several of his ministers. He and I have never had a sit down. It may happen at, one point in time, but I'm thoroughly political. I'm not really interested in religious solutions to black people's problems, but I got tremendous respect for the Honorable Minister Farrakhan and what he's done for the past 60 years.
Yes, sir. I won't go religious after that point you just made, and I respect that. Thank you. You've done enough observation in the continent. South Africa has black billionaires, but only 2 since democracy. Nigeria per capita probably has most.
Yes.
Ghana and other parts. My brother there is from DRC, which can light up the entire continent.
Yes.
From a point of energy supply.
Absolutely. Richest piece of land on the face of the earth.
Yes. Richest. But we are not able to commodify it. Why so?
Number one, we got to look at the outside interests of the U.S., the U.K., France, Belgium. You have to look at the World Bank, the IMF, and the UN, who have a vested interest in making sure African people cannot develop their own natural resources. They only want Africa to be a producer of raw commodity that they take out the continent, take back to Europe, process it, come it back, and sell it back to you as if it never came out of your ground in the first place. And I think that one of the weaknesses of Africa economically is Africa is not tapping into the vast reserves of wealth available in the diaspora. So, for example, in America, we're a $2 trillion economy. Instead of taking loans out from the UK, instead of taking loans from the French, come get some loans from the African-American people. We're a $2 trillion people. You don't have to keep going into debt to the World Bank and IMF.
So where's that conversation? Because this is not the first time you touch on the ownership of our own banks. And I feel like people enjoy listening to you.
Yes.
But it's a nightmare.
We're politically lazy. We don't want to do the work. We don't want to do the work.
And the Honorable Dr. Miles Monroe said something powerful. He says, prayer does not cancel laziness.
It does not.
I can lay hands on you. I can speak in tongues. But the person, if they go back to their old way of doing things, you just wasted a prayer.
Absolutely.
How do we rid ourselves of the laziness cancer that's upon us?
I think those of us who are serious about liberation have to start showing our people some measurable progress.
Okay.
The issue with black people, we've been beaten down so bad that we can't get motivated about a vision unless we start seeing it materialize. So we have to begin to flesh out the agenda. And then once our people see that the fleshed out agenda is beginning to take shape, then they will jump on the bandwagon. But you're not going to get our people at a grassroots level to believe in something that they don't see evidence of, because let's just be honest, we have been scammed and misled by black politicians, community organizers, religious leaders across the diaspora. So black people are tired of getting their hope up only to be let down by another scam artist.
But you see, Dr. Umar, here's the thing. I live in a community where when one of us make it, you are already campaigning to be investigated.
Yes.
Everyone has this idea, if he makes it, there's some kind of corruption behind him, or there's got to be a reason. He's probably in bed with the elitist. There's no appreciation for black success by black people.
Well, I'll push back just a little bit, and I do agree with you. Crabs in a barrel is real. That's colonization mentality.
Yes.
It's slave plantation mentality. But we also got to recognize something. A lot of our black success stories did achieve their success through a clandestine relationship with the white power structure. And after they achieve that success, very seldom do they reach back to help improve their communities. So we have to recognize that the black bourgeoisie in the past 30 years has not been a blessing to the black community throughout the diaspora. It's been more of a curse.
So what do you then do? Do you sync with the unsuccessful?
Well, I think that we have to make sure we're measuring success by the achievement of the masses and not the achievement of individuals. So you talked about how there's been 2 millionaires since the fall of apartheid. That's fine. But guess what? I don't measure black success in South Africa by how many millionaires you have. I will look at the general quality of life and opportunity for the everyday South African, because the white power structure is using black millionaires and billionaires as a distraction away from the real problems that everyday South Africans face. So we got to make sure we don't treat that as success. That is an anomaly. That's not an everyday occurrence. I'm happy you're a billionaire. I'm happy you're a millionaire. But what are you doing to raise up the rest of the people in the community?
I want to take calls, but I want to challenge you, because I run multiple businesses. I got white people that work for me, and I got black people that work for me. I got people I will sleep at night if I give them an assignment and get it done.
Yes, sir.
And I got people I give an assignment, and I'll have to have sleepless night, fast and pray that they're going to deliver. History has proven some of my people are not even happy to work for somebody that looks like me.
I'm in the same boat with you. As you know, I'm working on the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy in Delaware, and I had to go to white contractors because every black contractor that I hired scammed me out the money or didn't complete it. So I understand where you're coming from, but
It's
we
painful.
cannot turn our people into the victimizers. They are the victims. And
Okay.
what we have to do is transform that consciousness away from a deficit mentality to a surplus mentality. And we can only do that by making sure the schools
I agree.
in South Africa's townships are preparing our children for economic success.
But the teachers must give that education from a cup that is half full and not half empty.
I totally agree.
And I live in that world. I walked in studio today. I said to the team, guys, I've got a surprise for you. Dr. Umar is coming. They didn't believe me. Back to the black. It's like,
Yes.
wait a second. We'll believe it when we see it. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of saying, how do we prepare ourselves? Let me get enough notes. So I got questions. Arthur's got the biggest mouth on the show and he's been quiet because he didn't believe you coming.
Okay.
So you see, unto him who much is given, much is required.
Yes.
I prepared myself under 45 minutes when I spoke to my pastor, Khatebe, saying that you're on the way. I was like,
Yes, sir.
okay,
Yes,
I
sir.
want to do this. I can't pull people who don't want to come up to my level to pick up the same frequency I'm operating in.
And that's okay, because you don't need to get everybody. You got to get the right people. You understand? This freedom struggle of ours will not be a utopia. Everybody in South Africa doesn't care about improving the life of every other African in South Africa. Find the people who care, and that is who will be a nucleus towards us transforming the collective consciousness of our people. You're speaking to collective consciousness that can only be changed with examples of success.
I found somebody that cares. Lindy, Scott, real quick, you've been waiting, man. 17 minutes on hold. Dr. Umar is here. Talk to me, Scott.
First of all, I want to say shout out to Metro FM and to you, Thibaut Touch. You're doing wonderfully well for the black race and the black people. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
And shout out to Dr. Omar. I'm a follower. I respect what you do. I just want you to know that we love you over here and keep doing whatever you do because God is behind you. So now my question is this, quick and simple. Not a question, though, a suggestion. I got to learn more about black consciousness at a very old. At the end of the day, history has shown that we are great people. You know, we are leaders. We can actually do anything we want to do.
Thank you,
And
Scott.
the educational system is not actually helping in that aspect because that is another topic for the day. So,
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
Omar, please, can you just quickly highlight more how we can, start from the grassroots, educate our little ones, our black kids, empower
Well said,
them
well
mentally,
said, well said.
so
Thank
they
you,
can
Scott.
become better people. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you,
all
sir.
I want to say.
Thank you.
Yes,
We're
sir.
gonna park that.
Peace and Pan-Africanism to you, Brother Scott. Thank you for the support, and I totally agree with you. I read today in the newspaper that the unemployment rate for South African youth between the age of 15 and 24 is over 65%. That is unacceptable. One of the things that I recommend that Parliament does here, South African government, is bring the industrial building trade programs back into the township high schools. Our young men and women should be trained to be electricians, plumbers, carpenters, welders, roofers, auto mechanics, computer networkers. Bring livable wage training skill programs into the high schools, because if you don't, that homelessness rate in South Africa, which right now is estimated to be between 100,000 and 200,000 people, is going to continue to expand. The failure of a people begins in the classrooms of its schools.
I'm still waiting on publications from you, Dr. Umar, on the hypocrisy of the United States. Nobody till today has aggressively or followed up on certain proclamations that were made by President Bush, Barack Obama, when it comes to countries that were allegedly in possession of weapons of mass destruction. And against the UN, they still went and did as they pleased. We got crucified on a rumor that there's a boat that parked somewhere on the coast of
Simonstown.
Simonstown.
Cape Town.
And South Africa, imagine South Africa. That's like saying, we fed sharks to sardines. How do we give Russia weapons? They're the manufacturers of weapons.
Yeah, that's just propaganda, though.
And then the ambassador makes that statement the next day. The rand the dollar orbited sky high.
Well, you got to remember what BRICS is doing economically is exactly what got Gaddafi assassinated. And that is creating a currency that is tied to the resources of the country. That's what got Gaddafi assassinated by President Barack Obama, you see. And so what, Brazil and Russia, India, China, South Africa, you guys are significantly undermining the Western domination of the global economic system. And so they're going to try to come for as many of you as you can. And they probably see India, South Africa, quote unquote, as the weakest links. They obviously ain't going to go after China, and Russia could care less what they think. You understand? But I do think it's time for a new world order. And although I think BRICS might be a step in the right direction, it's not a solution for African people, because Russia and China and India could care less about what happens to us. They're also neo-colonizers. So we as African people have to create our own currency tied to the resources of the continent.
Wouldn't it be a stepping stone to changing the narrative, though?
It will change the narrative, but does it tilt the narrative in our direction? I don't think so. Just because something is different doesn't mean it's better. And we as African people should already know through our history that our enemy's enemy is not necessarily our friend.
I'm going to let my friend Ronaldo post the question, then I'm going to come back with the answer. Ronaldo, you got 30 seconds.
Yeah, thanks, Tibo. Thanks for the opportunity, Dr. Omar. Thank you for coming through and gracing South Africa with your presence.
Thank you.
Just a thing from my side that I've noticed in South Africa, and Touch, you can attest to this. The dynamic in South Africa is slightly different because black doesn't necessarily have one face, but the problem that we're facing as non-white South Africans is that amongst ourselves, there's factions of black that fight each other. So how do we overcome such a system where black in terms of the grander scheme of things, but then at the end of the day, when it comes to addressing the issues of inequality, you colored or you Chinese or you Indian?
Good question. Ronaldo had a very important question before we had to move on to ads. The colored community and the Indian community are considered black, and they are part of us. We are one. And to have...
They're not black. Respect to the East Indian community in South Africa, respect to the Chinese community in South Africa, respect to the Jewish community in South Africa. They are not black people. And it is disrespectful and it is disingenuous to allow another group of people who did not suffer the way in which indigenous black South Africans have suffered. It is disingenuous and unfair to allow them to claim blackness and then benefit themselves for programs created specifically for indigenous black Africans. Can I go to China and call myself Chinese? Can I go to East India and call myself an Indian? Can I go to Israel and call myself a Jew? So why can these outsiders come into South Africa and lay claim to the benefits that should only be given to indigenous black South Africans? That is wrong.
I hear you. What about those very white people who were supportive during the struggle? The white people.
And how do you define support? Because in my experience and in my research,
they were ostracized by their own communities, by their own families.
If you look a little bit deeper at the white liberal, you will often see that the white liberal is a hypocrite who speaks out both sides of their mouth. And although they may try to sympathize with the struggles of black people, at the end of the day, they enjoy their white privilege. And they have never done anything to eliminate their white privilege in order to be treated equal with the rest of us. The white liberal is a hypocrite. Show me where any white person in South Africa's history has ever fought to eliminate the white privilege that they benefit from. And if they do, why do black people in South Africa have such a difficult time accessing loans to build their businesses? Why is the unemployment rate so high? If you care about black people so much white people, why haven't you done more? And why can't we see the evidence of it?
Is it a race?
It is absolutely a race thing.
Okay, you and I, born of the same mother.
Yes.
We live in the same township.
Yes.
Drink from the same milk,
Yes.
from the same breast.
Yes.
Our response to life is different.
True.
I turn out to sell insurance. You turn out to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
But we ate the same, learned the same, taught the same
True.
Bible schools, went to the same, everything the same. But our mental disposition and how we respond to life is different.
True.
Why is that?
Well, because human reality and psychology is extremely dynamic. I'm a psychologist by trade. I deal with the human mind on a daily basis.
Fantastic.
It's dynamic. As you said,
Yes.
two identical twins can go through the same experience
Sure.
and come out with two different outcomes.
Correct.
You understand? Take me, for example, because I think I know where your point is going. I'm from the ghettos of North Central Philadelphia, correct?
Yes, sir.
I have 6 college degrees. I've never been to jail. You understand? I didn't fall for any of the traps that other young black men fell for growing up in Philadelphia. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't systemic injustices and obstacles placed in their way that prevented them from achieving what I achieved. The point that I'm trying to make, systems matter, institutions matter, processes matter, and we can't let black success only be determined by somebody's personality type. We have to blame the government and the power structure also.
If you allow me, Hamans Kral, Lesedi, hi.
Hi, you touch my brother.
30 seconds. We'll do the greetings. Go to the question.
Yeah, actually, I'd like to add more to what the great Umar Johnson said about the system that we need to have to be enforced in South Africa so we can enjoy or have the same privileges as the Europeans.
Okay. And your question is?
I'm such a fan of Dr. Umar Johnson.
Then come to Davidton tonight. You're not far off. It's 45 minutes drive.
Oasis Bible Church.
Come to Davidton at Oasis Bible Church. Kopano, hi.
How are you, Touch?
My
And
brother,
Dr.
we
Umar?
are amazing and we'll always be. Let's go to the question.
No, awesome. My question is basically, I'm in the tech space and I'm seeing where the world is going in terms of technology. And I wanted Dr. Umar's opinion on whether he thinks African leaders are competent enough to lead and change policies for the way the world is going in general, especially with the disruptions young people are going through currently.
I definitely believe that South Africa's leadership is competent enough to take our people in the direction that they need to go to, but I question their level of commitment. Not only do I question the level of commitment of South Africa's politicians, I question the level of commitment of most of the politicians across the African continent and across the diaspora for that matter. I don't see the commitment that is necessary in order to bring African people and African countries into the 21st century. A black politician is not just a representative. They have to be a warrior, and they have to be a warrior for resources.
Man, I feel like I'm in Wakanda 3 now.
And I'm Killmonger.
Come on, Arthur.
Oh, Doctor, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
being
King.
here and just speaking to the people
Yes,
of
sir.
Africa. I find as a young black man, sometimes I've got an identity crisis because I was raised up as a Christian, but lost connection to my African roots. What is the cause to that?
The problem with religions, okay, is that, and I want to be clear on this because my issue is not with Christianity. Religion is neutral, but many of the leaders who have come in the cloak of religion have manipulated our interpretation of the Bible and our interpretation of the Quran and our interpretation of other holy scripture into making African people believe that race consciousness is a sin. Make African people believe that if you don't forgive the people who are responsible for your oppression, then you are sinning against God. Religion is taught to black people in such a way that it makes you feel happy to have nothing, and it makes you feel like you're blessed because your enemy has everything.
Lord Jesus, here's Dr. Umar on his
And that
way.
Jesus better be black, because if he don't look like you,
I'm
throw him in
praying
the
for
trash.
you, man.
The Jesus
God,
better be black.
you
If he
need
don't
to pray.
look like
I'm
me,
trying to pray
if
for
the
you.
Jesus don't
Did
look
you just
like
cut me? Pray. You know, I got direct
is
access.
he black, my brother?
Let me
Is that
tell
an
you.
African Christ?
Let me tell you, the God I serve, if you know my journey, man, he's more than what you can imagine with your finite thinking.
I totally agree with that, but at the same time, Jesus did walk the earth, and we have proof of what exactly Jesus looked like, and I could prove that Jesus was a nappy-head, blue, black, purple African. So why, when it comes to talking about the color of Christ, religious black people always want to ignore the color? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why do we have a problem seeing divinity in our own image? Color does matter, and it's the only thing that ever has.
And with that said, I'm still going to continue praying for you that you make it on time tonight.
Yes.
In
Let
the
me give
name
your
of
listeners
Jesus.
my number if they ever want to reach me on WhatsApp, my
Yes.
South African family,
Yes.
+1. If you want to reach Dr. Umar directly, +1 215-989-9858. That's +1 215-989-9858. We on our way to Davidton right now. Oasis Bible Church, pull up. We talking education, black love, economics, politics, and the liberation of South African people. Amandla, away.
Where to? Before you go, I forgot to tell you this. You also specialize in you spoke about mental health.
Yes, sir.
I need you to meditate on behalf of this industry. We've lost some amazing artists.
To suicide or homicide?
Yeah, suicide.
Suicide. How many?
Yes. Oh, man. At this point, and homicide too. We've got a couple of homicide cases.
I'm going to make
and
sure you
suicide.
take my number if you ever want me to call in and have a
Yeah.
conversation on
We need
suicide
that.
and
We
black
need that.
males.
And Lesotho and Eswatini in South Africa are
I've been to
amongst the
Lesotho.
top 10. Top 10 highest
I didn't know
suicide
that.
in the world.
I'll be in Eswatini in December.
Lesotho is number 1 in the world
In suicide?
in suicide. Check it out right now. I'm telling you, and Eswatini, these are Southern African countries.
I didn't know that.
And South Africa.
I didn't know that.
In the top 10 highest suicide.
I did not know that.
In the industry alone.
Now, Lesotho also has a high HIV/AIDS rate, one of the highest in the continent, and I wonder if that's tied to the suicide rate potentially.
So you need to publish materials and meditate that God intervene. We need a spiritual intervention.
Absolutely.
It's a divine, I feel like it's a spiritual attack.
It is. We are under spiritual attack. And one of those spiritual attacks is the fact that we've given up on spirituality and we've married ourselves to materialism. African people have never been a materialistic people, and our young generation, the generation you just spoke about,
yes,
a lot of them are succumbing to the pressures of European capitalism.
That concludes the conversation because I'm not going to ask about Andrew Tate. We got to let you go. We gotta let you go.
I'll do a call in for that. Let me know when you're ready.
Do a call in for
yes,
that.
Sir.
We got elections next year. Are you gonna come before elections? Because a lot of young people don't want to vote.
I'm gonna come before elections.
They don't want to come out and vote.
And guess what? I cannot be upset for somebody who's tired of having their vote exploited. It's the same thing in the United States of America. One of the most powerful things the South African people can do, just like the American African people could do, is not vote. Show both parties that my vote will no longer be taken for granted. If you want this vote, you better give me something for it.
Let me tell you. Come back. Let's have this conversation.
Yes, sir.
But right now, we need young people to be on the forefront of driving the economy. And the only way we're going to do it is when we assume not a back seat in our life, but front row seat.
Yes, sir.
We are the captains of this industry, and I appreciate you, my big brother.
Appreciate you, King. Black
Lots
power.
of love, man.
Black queens forever, snow bunnies never.